Anything more to say specifically on equities, like what Canadians are looking at there?
For equities, I think it's fair to say that investors were diversifying their regional exposures. So given, again, all the US headlines that we've been seeing the past month. So as a result, when it comes to US equities, captured roughly about half of the equity flows year to date. But in February, we kind of saw the tides change. We saw investors kind of shift from US equities and into Canada equities and global equities.
But then we saw strategic reserves, and it happened globally. So one government did it, and then another government follows because they don't want to put it in a disadvantaged position. So now we need to watch what other governments and central banks around the world do.
Then presumably it would come out of the bottom line of the company, and so that would hurt earnings. So either way, tariffs are a lose-lose situation. It either increases prices and becomes inflationary, or it decreases profits. Of course, life is never that simple. There are nuances, right? So if you're a US importer and you're importing a good out of Canada, for instance, and that import, let's say, goes up 10%, but the value of the dollar goes up 10% against the Canadian dollar, the two offset each other. And so it's a question mark as to exactly where the pros and cons end up. But trade wars and tariffs are a lose-lose situation. It's just a question of who loses more.
You know, Mr. Poilievre, I think right now, has positioned himself as somebody that sees more things wrong with Canada than right with it. And people agreed with him 6 months ago, and they don't agree now. Timing is everything. The change in sentiment about federal politics is as dramatic a change as either Corey or I will ever have seen in Canadian politics, because this election was so over and so done with. And the emergence of Trump has completely changed the criteria on which people are selecting that.